Hi, in this tutorial I will review how to do line tracing and wireframe stuff because somebody asked me to do a tutorial about that. I already did some tutorials about line tracing but a while ago in a silent tutorial. So I'm going to review a little bit this process with this new tutorial. So first thing we can do to do line tracing is create shape layer, so either Bezier or whatever shape. So to do line tracing with the shape layer, it's quite simple. I just have to create a shape layer or import an SVG file, so vectorial stuff, and do a right click over the shape layer, do a stroke, and inside the stroke I have here the beginning, okay, here the end, and here I have the center. So it's quite easy to do line tracing using this kind of things. And one thing that is nice to do with line is also use a little blur modifier, which is the feedback, and inside the feedback to add a little 2D transform to do, okay, a little bit less, to do this kind of effect. Let's add some feedback level. Okay, and you see something happening here on the top because I need to put my 2D transform in transparent and not in repeat mode. So that's the first thing we can do, but I will not go further in that things. Let's go do line tracing over a geometry. So to do that, I will start with a geosphere and create a renderer thick line over my geosphere. And let's reduce a little bit the subdivision of my geosphere on the minimum, something like that. So now my geometry is what generate in this generator the point and the line and everything, but the way I display line is everything is here in the thick line renderer. So here, for instance, I can change the thickness of my line, and if you see this kind of weird stuff happening here when you do things with thick lines, there's no magic stuff, but it's kind of Deus Ex Machina. It's the algorithm here, and it really depends on how you use thick lines. Sometimes it's one algorithm, sometimes another that will work. In this case, it seems that the algorithm tree is working, so let's use this one. And we can also use a constant size in pixel to have a size of thick lines that does not take into account the depth of the 3D scenery. Now my thick line is done, and you see when I expand my thick line that I have two stuff here. First a map, so it's a white uniform here, and this map is how I put color over my line, and they are using here the U coordinate texture of my geometry using a linear function. So u equal 0 is here, u equal 1 is here, and here is the texture that I will be using on the vertical axis. So if I change the uniform map for gradient, gradient, and put that in linear, so here my texture looks like that. Let's put an horizontal texture maybe. Let's see if we have that here. No. So let's just put a distort 2D transform and do a 90 degree rotation. So I go from left to right, and here you see that the thick line I am black in the beginning of the UV of my geosphere and white at the end of the UV of my geosphere. So now I'm using the U. I can use V also. I can use UV angle, UV radius, or I can use world orientation, so X, Y, or Z. And so you can use that to do whatever you want. So let's do some tracing around this shape. So what I can do to do that is, for instance, add another 2D transform here, reduce the scale. So now my map looks like this, and if I do change the frame position here with a linear loop, so now I have this kind of effect going on. Let's reduce a little bit. And now if I see what's happening here, now I'm doing some tracing over my geosphere. Instead of using gradient, let's put back a uniform, and put that in white. So now nothing is happening because I'm using 2D transform in a full white map, so we don't care about that. But what I can do here is also do tracing by using a mask. Here, a placement mask. And if I change, let's share this texture. So put that into a composition and share this texture. So that will allow me to display the texture and the geometry. So let's do a control drag and drop to display the texture I'm currently using here, the texture of my tick line. And let's change the placement mask here on my texture. So now you see how I can do tracing over geometry, changing also the position of my mask and doing like linear loop over this this position. And then here in my mask, you see that I'm using the full UV of my geosphere. What I can do is inside the tick line here I have the way my tick line is displayed over my map. So here it's using the Z axis, so let's put the U axis, which is the UV map actually. And this is driven by a function, again, from beginning to the end and from the start of the map to the end of the map. So let's put this function as repeat mode and repeat it a little bit. And now if I change the offset of this function, I can do tracing using this kind of method also. So really it's up to you, given what you want to achieve. So let's create a linear loop over this one, and we have some kind of tracing like that. Let's duplicate this mask. Well, to be more convenient, let's use a mask over this uniform map, which will be a layer mask set as checkerboard vertical lines. So my map is like this, and then I'm using I messed up. That's not the phase of my function I wanted to change. Let's put that back in default mode with right click here and change the offset. So create a linear loop over the offset, and now I have some offset around my line. This is quite tricky to configure, so maybe it's should be better. Let's suppress the loop to leave that as one clumped linear function, and let's put loop over the offset of the checkerboard here over my texture. Usually I prefer to do the animation of the line tracing over the texture of the tick line instead of the way I put my tick line over my coordinate. Okay, something like that. Okay, so basically that's how you can do line tracing. So then you can go further. And let's put just maybe here a little mask, placement mask. Let's put its feather on left, right, and top, bottom. Okay, so that will just give me some kind of fade in, fade out over my line. So you see here something disappearing, appearing at once. This really depends on how I place my UV. So let's use y-axis, for instance. Okay, so I have my first things here. Now let's try to do some other wireframe stuff that we see a lot in many stuff, which will be like infinite zoom synthwave mode. So let's create a plane again with another thick line renderer. Okay, and first this geosphere, I will put that into a composition. Put the camera into this composition, so it's the camera of this compo, and put everything regarding my geosphere. I call that sphere into this composition. So now I have my sphere, which is in one composition, and I will have my plane that will be in another composition. So and they won't merge, they won't blend together. So let's create a new composition for my plane. And let's put a camera inside this plane composition. Alright, now I will visualize this composition and work inside this composition. Okay, in the plane I don't need the default surface. And I will put no alpha layer, so we see better what's happening. So let's put a plane like 10 meters wide. Okay. Let's put this second tick line with a larger amount of line. And my camera has some kind of weird shift. Okay, should be better like that. And here you can see aliasing. So let's, inside the composition that contain my plane, put a 8 multisampling, and that should solve the issue. Now what I want to do, let's move a little bit the position of my plane in the z-axis, is do an infinite zoom inside this plane. So let's put a big plane. Okay, add a little bit of subdivision like that, and a little bit more on this side. And let's say into my plane here in advanced mode that I will only show my U line. So that will be alright. So now let's do a little distort displace. Okay, and let's put a mask with a noise over my element. So now what I want to do is to make a zoom inside of that. So let's create a linear infinite ramp over the offset of my noise and put that in play and reduce a little bit the speed. So now I'm distorting my line with this map. So again, I will do a composition, Ctrl+Shift+C, and expose this map. This will not be really useful here, but it will allow me, and put that here, it will allow me to just display this composition, my mask, so we can see what is happening here. So you see that here my animation has been disconnected, so that's not really a problem. Let's just take the noise, take the offset that I was animating, and re-put it inside my animation loop. And now inside this composition that make my distort, let's rig that a little bit. So to be sure that I have no waves coming into the center of my screen. So let's put inside this composition a uniform, a black uniform, and put that in the middle with maybe a little mask, placement mask. So again, left, right, and the bottom, and put a little feather on the left, right side. Okay, so that's all right. And now let's take a better angle on this one. Here. Okay. Okay, so now I have kind of an infinite zoom. Let's rig a little bit everything regarding that. So the maximum 8 is defined here by the white spot and the maximum display distance. Again, because the mask is just modulating the way I'm applying my effect. So let's put that a little bit higher. And let's change a little bit how the parallel noise is displayed. So go in advanced parameter, and I will change the midpoint here of my noise. And let's quantize with a small smooth. Okay, change the midpoint just to have some line appearing from time to time. Now you see that I have transparency, so let's do not have transparency. I just display the line with a black background, and to do that, before my tick line renderer, I will put another renderer, which will be a surface, just before my tick line, and I will put that into black. Let's put that into a like little blue. Okay, like that. And let's add some subdivision on my plane on the, no, not this axis, this one. Okay, so I have more line coming on. And let's reduce a little bit the speed of my effect. Okay. Okay, that seems alright. So now let's put over the tick line some modification to do the colorization. So what I will do here is use an attribute modifier, which is a colorized texture layer. Inside the colorized texture layer, I will reuse this noise that I'm currently using to make my displacement. So let's put this noise here and do a control drag and drop inside the colorized layer. So now I'm colorizing my line with this same texture. So now let's previsualize this texture and let's add a little colorize function. And let's say that the black will be like blue, and let's put that into a bytone. And the end will be like purple, maybe darker blue. Okay, and now I have purple on the top and darker blue on the bottom. Okay, so if you want to rig that, to set that a little bit more precisely, let's put this gradient into keyframe, go into the function editor, and now I have keyframe that I can use to create, to change my gradient as I want. So for instance, let's add a little key here with control click and change this key into darker blue. Okay. Let's widen a little bit the tick line, and let's add a little displace on the tick line just to avoid the fight between my surface renderer and my tick line renderer. So let's put a little displace set as very small value, like 0.01, maybe that should be enough. Okay, so this allows me to see better my line over my thing. So this is actually a way to do infinite zoom. So let's call that infinite zoom 01. And another kind of infinite zoom that I can do, and let's put the sphere above. Okay, and so now the sphere is above all, and I don't care about it because it's different camera, different thing. Let's just within a little bit the tick line here and remove this mask and reduce the tick line. Okay, something like that. And let's put the camera of my infinite zoom in the middle. That should be this. No, that should be this then. Okay. And so now what I can do is, for instance, add some little effect. So let's go into my infinite zoom here, and let's add over the tick line here, over the whole plane. Let's add a little distort, a 3D transform, and 3D transform like that, for instance, and add a noise 3D. Okay, let's reduce the size of the 3D noise a lot. No, I'm not the noise scale here. Okay, let's play this noise. Okay, and let's change a little bit how the noise is scaled. So okay, now I'm going to rig this effect on one of my notes. So what I will do is, for instance, create a fade in of this one. So let's put this animation here. This fade in currently is just doing a fade in on my effect. I will change the linear ramp by a sinus. by a sinus and change its phase like this, for instance. And now let's expose the reset as trigger parameter and connect the play as the same trigger parameter. So when I play here, I will just play this. You see what's happening here in the 3D transform. When I play, I reset and play at the same time this fade in, so I can send it many times and it will change the way my 3D transform is set. So let's create a learn on this one. Okay, on this false. Okay. So let's check if equal false boolean. Let's change the value. Okay. Let's do this. Let's change my displacement map, for instance. So let's try something. So let's export that as percentage parameter, and let's say that my display start at small displays and end at big displays. Okay, so something like that. And let's learn this into another note, like okay, let's try with this one and see what's happening. Okay, what I can do also, let's delete this one and let's create same thing, little fade in here, and do the exact same thing with the sinus. Sinus, change the phase, expose as trigger parameter, connect this to the same trigger parameter, which is this one, and let's say that the length of this one will be like 3 seconds. Okay, and let's learn this into this note here. Okay, so here it's when I release my note that is happening. So again, equal not false but true. And each time I press this note, I will have this 3 seconds. So my that's how you can create this kind of effect. And now let's use like a MIDI keyboard function on the sphere. Where could I put that? I have no idea. How can we do something fun? Let's use what can I do on this one? Well, let's do that for instance with an operator, like no, not an operator, a distort, which is called, where is it, demultiply. Okay, and the demultiply, what it does, let's add differentiation. Okay, let's add strength. Let's play as standalone. Okay, what we are going to do here, it's the interval. Okay, what can we do with that? What can we do with that? I'm just trying some things here. So let's add some subdivision to the geosphere. In here, Well, let's not bother with this fucking geosphere. I have no idea of what to do here, and let's change the algorithm, which seems to have some issue here. Okay, so let's go back on the plane, and let's go. What was not with this note, but with everything in general. I'm changing the color of my thick line using this. So the colorize, let's take this key, and we are going to expose the last color here as a percentage parameter also, which is the colorize. So let's check the colorize, and now we are going to say that at 50% I have this magenta. When I go to minus 0%, I will go to green, and on the other hand I will go to, let's say, like blue, like this. And now I will learn this colorize key over my pitch. So learn, and my pitch it's one, the pitch bend here. Okay. And now if I change my pitch bend, so that's something that can be done. Okay, so let's do a little bit more hardcore with this one, like reduce this for and let's say that the pitch bend will also change, like the scale of my sphere, for instance. So in my sphere here, I will put a 3D transform with a little scale, like that. Okay, and let's learn that into my pitch bend also. So add, yeah. So now my pitch bend will be by default at 50%, and then it will also have an effect on if I want to do a MIDI function, let's do something simple. So every note will have an effect. So inside the plane here, let's put another distort, a 3D transform. Okay, Smode is frozen, like that, and let's put a mask, which will be a function mask. Okay, function mask, set as U coordinate. Let's wait that Smode unfreeze. Okay, let's see if, okay, that's fine. And let's change the function from linear ramp to MIDI keyboard, and say that my MIDI keyboard is my control device number 1. Okay. Let's change a little bit the function of my MIDI keyboard. That's all for today, and with this tutorial, and see you another time. Sorry, I was not very inspired to rig my with Smode and MIDI keyboard. See you.